Hey everybody, welcome to the break room, and I watched a very good movie for a very sad reason. So recently, John Lewis, civil rights activist, leader, and member of Congress, recently passed away. And I mean, it's a sad thing in general. I obviously didn't know him personally, but I do have friends who have heard it. Like Liz, my partner, has heard him speak. I have another friend who actually got to meet him, has the most wonderful picture taken with him. And this was one that it felt like it hurt a little bit more. I really kind of wanted him to stick around a bit longer and sort of see the other side of, some of what's going on right now. Although part of the movie that I watched, which was Selma, kind of makes the point that we're not on the other side of stuff that's been going on for a very, very long time. So Selma, in case you didn't know, well, this is a movie I've been meaning to watch forever. And it is about the protest march in Alabama from Selma to Montgomery about voting rights. And Martin Luther King was involved. John Lewis was involved. And it touches on both the specific situation and the big picture of civil rights. And it's a really, really good movie. It is not messing around. So, for one thing, the cast on this. I can't even begin to name everybody that I recognize who was in this. Like, even for small parts, they got people involved who clearly wanted to be there. None of it felt like stunt casting. It felt like everyone was there because they wanted to help bring this story to life. None of it felt like stunt casting. None of it felt phoned in. And at the heart of it is David Oyelowo, who is playing Dr. Martin Luther King. And he's really good, but everybody's good. Everybody's phenomenal in this. And part of what makes it so good is it does not pull punches. When the violence breaks out and the police start beating people with batons, it is harrowing, which it should be. I think a lot of it because the camera, you never get a wide shot. It never pulls back. And I don't want to give the impression that it's like in and shaky cam, you can't tell what's going on. No, you can tell what's going on, but the camera's in the mix. It's like it's there. And it makes it feel much more immediate. Like, the only time it pulls back is to give you the scope of, like, the number of a certain amount of people there, but that's before chaos breaks out. If chaos breaks out, you are on the ground level, you are in the thick of it, and you feel it. And there's also a bit towards the opening that has a bomb going off, and the suddenness of that, for lack of a better term, it woke me up. And that's not to say I was like sleeping my way through this movie, and it happens early on, but it was a big slap in the face of pay attention. And it was an effective one at that. And watching this and really getting a much better sense, because I feel like, again, speaking for myself, I don't know what anyone else's education was like, but I feel like for me, the way I was always presented the civil rights movements and figures like Martin Luther King was something was going on that they knew was wrong. They brought attention to it. It got fixed. Always kind of felt like the baseline of how it got presented to me. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that the idea of the civil rights movements and figures like Martin Luther King was introduced to me at a fairly young age, fairly early into school, like grade school, like third, fourth grade. And I don't think that's a bad age to do it, but I feel like in a lot of ways the education I got about the civil rights movement didn't evolve any deeper than that initial understanding. And so watching this, seeing how the coordination worked, how there was conflict in the best way to approach this. The butting of heads with authority figures who are even trying to be on your side, but still don't want you. They want you to go about it in a different way that you are. The degree of violence, the fact that people died. I didn't know that people died due to their involvement with this movement, with these marches, with this specific moment in time. I didn't know that. And I really feel like I should have. And that's not me like denouncing the American education system. You failed me. Like, I should have learned that. If I'm going to go so far as to say I should have been taught more, then at the very least, I need to additionally acknowledge I should have taught myself. This is stuff I should know. And I don't. And I didn't. And even now, like, the understanding that I have is a fictionalized account, which probably isn't great either. It's better than nothing, I think. I did look into the historical accuracy on this, and it's pretty good by most accounts. It's not perfect, but, like, no movie version is ever. And there are a few things that people take issue with. It seems like the big thing people take issue with is the depiction of LBJ, the president of the time, depicting him as more reluctant than most historians agree that he actually was. And like a few details and a few figures dropped or not represented. And while I'm not going to say those aren't valid criticisms, they are. The accounts by most people who were still alive when the movie came out and who were there, like John Lewis, said this captured that moment in time incredibly well. And actually, John Lewis himself even pointed out, he said, we don't hold movies to an absolute truth of history level. Why are people scrutinizing this movie like it should meet that standard? We don't do that for other historical dramas. And I mean, he's kind of right that, you know, a lot of the times it's just like, oh, it's just a movie. That's fine. But for some things, it's like we really or some people really hammer on every little detail that's off. And maybe there's a reason behind the specific movies that get that treatment. I'm not going to let that thought train go too far down because I don't know where it goes. And if I'm ever gonna try and make that point, I should like do some more legwork on my part. But this movie is powerful. This movie is resonant. And seeing this movie made in 2014 depicting events from the 1960s and feeling like I'm watching stuff going on in 2020, that is really telling. So that's Selma. If you haven't seen it, I really, really recommend you do. So yeah, that's it for this one. Have you seen Selma? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments and let's talk about it. All the stuff to do, like, share, subscribe. I have a Patreon, which is a big help. I was laid off recently. But, you know, you also don't have to. No big pressure. We take a relaxed attitude around here. So just come on back next time you need a break.